Welcome back to Midwest eSports Formula One Division 1, and tonight is the last race of Season 12, and we've got a very exciting one because both of the championships are still within reach.
Yeah, there is a lot. There's a lot like just piled on top of each other. Not only is this the end of Season 12, this is also the end of the tenure racing in this video game, Formula One 2023, as Season 13 will be moving to F1 24, which was just released like a week ago. Most of the drivers very excited to hop over to that new game. And this is also, I mean, yeah, it is the final season in the game. It is the final race of the season. And we have some very, very close races in the points between two pairings of sibling drivers. So be ready for that storyline to just absolutely grip the entire broadcast here tonight. Deservedly so. But yeah, just going to have a wonderful race here in Austria tonight. Season 12 coming to a close. It does not get any better than this. I mean, this is a pure shotgun showdown in the final race of the season for who lifts that trophy for the constructors.
Yeah, we've got a 5-point difference between Alpine and Aston Martin after last week, with Alpine having a DNF. And then the Drivers' Championship, Skrenzy still has a shot. He is, 17 points behind Gott Palmer. So that's about 6 to 7 to 8 positions on the grid, depending on where they are. Imagine one of them will be close to the top, so we'll see. And then you have points for pole, points for fastest lap. It could all play out very, very interestingly.
Yeah, you're going to be pulling some fast math here.
I made a spreadsheet for it to track just those 4 drivers, put their positions, and then it will calculate all of that stuff for me. So
it's
hopefully
phenomenal.
we can keep on track with that.
Yeah, well, we are going to try to keep the hype alive as we head to the track in Austria. You see that there is a bit of overcast here right now, and it is looking like, from what I can see in the driver's chat, we may be dealing with some rain here today. So if it's anything like Montreal in real life last week, it could be a nail-biter until the very last lap of the race. But we are going to hold on, and we're not going to predict anything in terms of the weather until it happens. So we are now on board with MMR Hightower in the Williams, currently on their outlap. Just a handful of drivers out on track right now as everyone is loading into the session. We do have some substitutions here for you tonight, one of which is the Williams with MMR Hightower. He is taking the place of Nikki 6'4", is out on American vacation, gosh darn it. So hope you're enjoying some time away, Nikki. For the Alpha Tauri garage, Mitch Burns out once again is Scabney 720. For the Haas garage, Mac is out. Daryl is in. Daryl? Yes, Daryl, not Darrell. And for the Williams, again, both Williams seats being replaced here tonight. Mackie Marquis is not on the grid. In is Josh Sr. So 4 drivers as replacement roles here tonight. But as we will keep saying through the entire broadcast, all eyes are on the brothers in Alpine and the brothers at Aston Martin. Sui and Skrenzy going up against Gott Palmer and Chuck Blazin for the constructors title, and Skrenzy also looking for that driver's shot. It is a long shot, but if any driver could make up 17 points in a single go, it would be the Aston Martin. Mr. 5-time over there. I mean, come on.
I didn't even have to look at the MidWest stats vault to see how many championships he has, because he has it listed ever so nicely. And I think that's 5-time driver champion.
Yes,
this is a long list of drivers, but 5 times for each. 5-time driver, 5-time constructor.
Oh, wow.
Just killing it.
Did not know that he also had 5 constructor. Yeah. One of, if not the most decorated Formula One Division 1 drivers here in Midwest eSports. Just an absolute masterclass to watch Skrenzy week in and week out. Looks like we only have 4 viewers, and has anyone commented in the chat? Hello, anyone that may be watching live that's not my phone off to the side or Mitch's screen that's off to the side monitoring.
We also have, I looked at Gott Palmer has 1 Constructors Championship, no Drivers Champion, so this will be his very first. He has won 13 races, and 87 races total. I know Skrenzy's numbers are higher than that. I just want to see how crazy of a difference it is, because he's been around since the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, 155 starts, 53 wins.
That's unreal. Like Verstappen level stats right there.
Yeah, it's crazy. How many races total? 8. That's Division 1. There's been 172 races in Division 1, so he's done almost every season.
Maybe 20 races.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. That is, I mean, that is an Ironman title as well. Like on top of, 10 championship championship wins. That is just, another one to add on. Skrenzy only with 1 win in season 12. That was our opening race in Saudi Arabia. Saw Skrenzy atop the podium. And Also, Got Palmer, who is in the lead in the drivers right now, has only got 1, 2, 3 wins on the season. Mackey picking up a lot of the wins here, but points are awarded to other folks who are not just in first place. So that really goes to the strategy and just the persistence and consistency of these drivers to be able to ramp up these many points and not have as many podiums as someone like Mackey, who did dominate the podium this year.
We've also had GSR Edwin, who has had a very strong second half to this season. He was down like 14th, 15th after the first couple of races. We had a couple drivers, swap out and he can move up a few, but he has climbed steadily throughout the season. He was in 13th after week 6, and now he is sitting in 5th. He has been up as high as 4th as of last week. He is about 30 points behind race day, but he's just had such a huge climb this season.
Yeah, it has been absolutely phenomenal. And we did miss last week's race, but we did see race day atop the podium, first place, his one and only on the season so far in Montreal. So congratulations.
Until he got a penalty.
Oh, was it revoked? Oh, shoot.
Yes, I think looking at the results from last week, he did finish first, but after the penalty points, he went down to 3rd. Palmer got first, and Scarenzi got 2nd.
Never mind, race day. I tried. I just can't read.
And that's interesting too. With the points, I believe that would have even got Palmer 2 extra points after the race ended. So boosted his lead from 15 to 17 over Scarenzi,
Absolutely.
who is coming across and currently in 4th. But we have 11 minutes left in qualifying, so plenty of time for him to improve.
Yeah, Got Palmer currently sitting sitting in provisional pole with a 103, the only driver to hit the 103 mark so far. But yeah, we do have the majority of the session to go, so expect those times to catch up, if not exceed Got Palmer's time. On board now with race day in 5th. Let's try and catch a driver going across the line so we can sit in the cockpit and get an onboard view of Spielberg here in Austria, the Red Bull Ring. Just an absolute ripper of a track. This is one that I always sleep on, but anytime I come to this track, I absolutely love it. I fall in love with it every single time, especially this Sector 1. One of those sectors where you get it right, you feel like you are just absolutely on rails, gliding on ice. It's a wonderful track.
It looks like Kelly Robb's doing a cool down, so we're not getting a full speed look, but there's these 2 tight right-handers. That one at the top of the hill is very difficult, and so is turn 1 because you try to hop that curb. I believe he is looking to let someone pass. Yeah, it's just a short, fun track, and it's got some weird turns in it too, like this one, and then this next sweeping left has a kind of weird apex, it feels like, when you drive it, because you don't get too close to that left side. Even though normally you want to touch the inside corner because you set up for the second one, so you can carry a ton of speed before you get into the final sector. And then today, again, important for the points, you might see a lot of penalties for this last corner where the drivers tend to go off. You almost did it there. If they get all 4 tires over those white lines, you get 4 of those, and then you're getting a 3-second penalty.
I forget how many penalties were awarded last year at the real life Austrian Grand Prix.
At least 10 of the drivers. Yeah. I want to say it was 12 or 14. It got to the point where the commentators were saying, if everyone does it, then you're back to equal. Like, you might as well do it.
Right. Yeah, this one is it is a nuanced track. It is just under 3 miles to the circuit, only 10 turns, but they definitely make the most of it. Yeah, a lot of double turns, where, like you said, you just can't fully read the race line in terms of the curbs. You just have to know where you need to be and really feel it out. So on board now with our provisional pole sitter, Got Palmer in the Alpine, looking for that constructor's title today with his brother, Chuck Blazin, who is currently, if I can read, in 4th place as GSR Edwin, the Plums both get up there into the front rows.
Yeah, looking at last week, Edwin had both pole position and the fastest lap, so he got some good points from that. I also don't know if it was this lap or not. I almost thought that Gott Palmer and Chuck Blazer were going to work on the toe to get one of them a very fast time out there. Doesn't look like any of that really came to fruition, but Chuck Blazer did improve on his time just a little bit.
Yeah, we may be seeing that a little later in the session. But I don't want to say normally you don't worry too much about that 1 point for pole position, but I think now you really do. Tonight, especially.
With a 5-point difference, and almost every position is a 2-point difference in the standings, except for the top 3, then there's even bigger spreads. So like every single point matters in this point in this race. Might see something weird for the fastest lap as well. But if we get rain too, it's going to be very tricky.
Yes, Scarenzi chiming in paddock chat saying, I really do hope it actually is heavy rain like the game is predicting. Otherwise, he doesn't think he has a shot. So we're going to see. We know Scarenzi can deal with those inclement conditions very, very well. Some Lando Norris level wet driving, or was it K-Mag in Montreal who just absolutely put on a clinic?
Well, they put on the both Haas put on the wet tires
14 to 4th,
which was honestly a good race just because my girlfriend and I went to Montreal and we ran and walked the track. So I had it on, and because of that and because of the weird weather stuff, she was asking a lot of questions, like why are their tires different? And then like the commentators were explaining a ton of stuff, like you should pit to put on slicks, but there's rain coming again soon, so maybe you don't. And then Ferrari had all of their stuff happen, which was just I was like, well, that was dumb. I'm like, right, that's them.
Yeah. Now you're getting it. Okay, cool, so you understand.
Yep. And she likes Carlos, which I can't fault, but it's also Ferrari.
Not at all. Both of those baby-faced drivers over at Ferrari, it's hard to hate on them. Everyone who is a racing fan is a Ferrari fan. Hello, Doc Worthy. Hello, Ellie. Hello, Coach. What is up, everyone? Happy late anniversary to Coach and my mom. Happy 31 years yesterday.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah. I have no idea what they did. I think they went to the community pool to watch it get filled up for the start of the year. Very romantic stuff.
That's exciting. It's getting hot out here. I don't know what it's going to be like down there, but Pittsburgh next week, every day is a high of 95 or higher. Like the lows are mid-70s. And I know people going to the beach next week, and the highs are like mid-80s, breezy. We're just going to bake here.
Yeah, Baltimore today was 99 and humid. So I was living inside of an armpit, and I am afraid to look at next week's forecast. If Pittsburgh's going to be that warm, we may hit the triple digits. So
yeah, you're going to be muggy.
Yeah, can't wait for all that.
Might be able to do some pierogies out on the sidewalk.
Honestly, I can right outside of the studio. I can open up the window onto our front little porch overhang and cook them on the shingles.
There you go.
Yeah.
Can have a little cook-off.
Tar is not a carcinogen, right? We should be fine.
Actually, yeah, you're about the same temperature as us.
Okay. All right. Great. I'm going to be on a roof 2 out of 3 days that I'm in the office next week. So can't wait for that. On board now with GSR Caesar in the Mercedes, out on an absolute scorcher. We'll see. He has bested his Sector 1 time. We'll see if he can improve here in the back too. But the Mercedes, also a wonderful pairing here. They may have a pretty good shot. They're definitely going to be competitive here in Austria today. Going to put the pressure on Alpine and Aston Martin for sure.
I meant to write this down. I always forget. I saw it a week or two ago. Drivers, when they redraft teams in the next season, I believe it's drivers in the top 8 can't team up. It might be top 10. feel like it was top 8 or top 7. So the GSR brothers, Caesar and Edwin, they've been together for a few seasons, I think, for the most part. And they should still be good. Caesar's down in 19th. I know they love racing together. Interestingly, Scarenzi and Sui, well, Scarenzi may race next season, may not race next season. Him and Sui, depending on how tonight finishes up, might be tricky. And then the same with Got Palmer and Chuck Blazin, that brother combo as well, currently in 1st and 10th.
Just absolutely wild that 30% of the grid here are relatives, like blood relatives. Grew up in the same house together. We have 3 brother pairings on track this season, which I'm upset that I didn't lay more into those storylines throughout the season, but c'est la vie. We are here tonight, definitely gonna make the coverage count.
With this being such a small track, there's a lot of caution flags as drivers slow down to let people on their actual laps pass by. It's making it hard to see how much time is left in this session. 1:35, so 1 more lap, maybe 2 more laps if he was really pushing for it. Got Palmer, I think, is starting one now because that last lap was 11 seconds. Scarenzi on an out lap. A couple others. Chuck Blazin, I think he is definitely waiting to give his brother a tow.
Absolutely. I mean, where did those 15 minutes go? They absolutely disappeared.
We get on a story or two, and then, that's it.
I'm telling you. These sessions need to be longer so we can talk longer. Get warmed up a little more before we jump right into the action. Yeah, here we see Scott Palmer taking it slow. The Alpines looking to team up here for the final lap.
It's tricky on this one, though, because there is it's such a short place that you do have to pull over a lot for drivers on their flying laps, so it can get hard to get in sync with your teammate. Scarenzi, I think, is starting his final lap, 30 seconds left. His brother Sui is further up on the track. I believe he's also on a flying lap, so won't be looking to give his brother a boost out there unless it's not looking good by the end of it. We'll see. I believe they'll be the first pairing to cross over.
Weather is looking decent. I mean, I know in the game, qualifying and the race are on 2 separate days, so we could have a whole different story after the intro reel. But right now, looking pretty good in Austria. These cars at least able to get out there and set their times on the slicks, going as full out as possible. Scott Palmer crosses the line at the 103.757. One of the first laps that he took in the qualifying session will be the provisional pole time. We'll see what Scarenzi has in the pocket. It is not enough. 104.13 is going to keep Scarenzi in 5th for just now.
And I believe
he looks like he is out of the session as well.
Yeah, Got Palmer and Chuck Blazin both decided they had done enough out there with their 103s. So looks like Scavney and Hightower are the only drivers left out there. Hightower going into the pits. Scavney would be the last one to cross the line. I think what I forgot to mention when Scarenzi mentioned hope it rains hard, his car might be set up for that. Scavney by the way jumping up to 9th. So if his car's set up for heavy rain, his quality time wouldn't be great. But if it doesn't rain heavy, then that car is going to be dragging through this course.
Very, very interesting gamble here for Scarenzi. If that is true, we could have a dragon or an absolute, just sloth on the track. But we will find out in due time. There it is. Both Alpines currently sitting atop the points for the constructors. Got Palmer is looking ahead at a driver's championship. Will they both be able to hold on through today's final race of season 12 to reign victorious? Alpine across the board is what it's reading now, but only when the checker flag flies will we have our final answer. Season 12 wraps up just after this. Stay tuned. It is the Austrian Grand Prix. race fans, welcome back to Midwest Esports on Nick and Mitch. A grand finale for the ages lies before us tonight as we bid farewell to an absolutely electric season of racing. Season 12 makes its final stop at the legendary and sopping wet Red Bull Ring in Austria. In the words of my announcing idol, Mr. Mike Lang, get in the fast lane, Grandma. The bingo game is ready to roll. As most of you know, Spielberg is a bull of a track. 3 DRS zones divvied up through the 2.7-mile circuit present a driver's playground and a strategist's nightmare. Navigating 10 turns a lap, one wrong move will send your podium dreams up in flames. Now, Mitch, this season has truly hit a boiling point in the 11th hour, so to properly set the stage, we do need a really in-depth recap of how we got here.
Yes, and at the start of the season, it was Scarenzi on top, the 5-time Drivers' Champion, 5-time Constructors' Champion. But by the time we reached Qatar, Gott Palmer had taken over in the lead. We also saw Mackie Marquis stepping up into 3rd position, and Race Day and McLaren struggling to get into the top 3. Visits from GSR Edwin, Cali Rob, and the Plums. We now are sitting with Scarenzi 17 points behind Gott Palmer in this final race. And for weeks now, the title has been Alpine's for the taking, but last week's double DNF rewrote the inevitable, and now the brothers at Aston Martin are sniffing victory like a butcher's dog. This isn't just another finale, this is a no-holds-barred shootout for the constructors' crown. Ferrari had gotten close as well, but right now, just 5 points separating Alpine and Aston Martin. But with that pole position, it is now 6 points, so we will see what happens in the race.
This is it. Do or die. All or nothing. Everything left on the track. Get ready for a race that'll leave you breathless, bewildered, and begging for more, and maybe a fresh pair and very dry pair of socks. For the final time in F1 23, this is Midwest Esports Formula One Division 1 on Nick and Mitch. And we are away racing, no formation lap here in Austria. The Austrian Grand Prix has begun. A very wet start to the race. Already have a caution in Sector 1, but it is still Gott Palmer and Chuck Blazin atop the pack. Scarenzi already making his way up into 3rd, now 2nd place. Looking like that gamble on the rain setup is paying off for the Aston Martin, but hang on to your butts because these Alpines are not going to go quietly into the night. The Plums now making a move, getting by, trying to make a move on the outside on the Alpine of Chuck Blazing, but was not able to until the very end of that double right-hand turn that we were talking about, how tricky that one is, and then add just absolutely buckets of rain. I mean, we are at the soak zone right now, folks, so it is just piling on the difficulty. Another caution here in Sector 2 as cars are kind of just, splatter painting themselves across the track, trying to figure out what needs to be done to stay alive. As you see those blue tires on there, that means we are on the wets. You really need all of the grip that you can get out there from the tires. So just, again, absolutely, skating on ice with a pair of slippers tonight are all 18 drivers here.
My mouth has just been hanging open for that whole first start. I did not know we started without that formation lap. Nope. And then Scarenzi just launched himself up to the top, 3 positions up into 2nd. Chuck Blazin in the Alpine has dropped 5. So what looked so good for Alpine at the start with the 1-2, the front row lockout, immediately goes back to a title contention.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the Plums getting the best of Chuck Blazin threw him off that line and really just, spelled disaster there for a rather dismal first lap of this race. But we'll see if the brother Alpine can make it back up into contention. We still have cautions all over the place, so we will wait to see if those ever clear up. That may just be a glitch in the game. I don't know.
There was something weird. Scavney got the DQ and it said blocking pit lane. So I don't know what happened there, if he had to avoid or something or cut across the line, but I almost think that the game just kicked him out.
Interesting. Also interesting, Scarenzi with the fastest lap now, besting got Palmer's original time. Just look at the spray coming from these cars. Scavney officially left the session. Disqualified is the AlphaTauri. Unfortunate in the first 2 laps of the race here in Austria. We had a look at tire strategy, and was that Chuck Blazin giving a little love tap to the Mercedes of GSR Edwin around that corner? It looked close, but no damage is evident. I forgot what I was saying before that line.
No, I was trying to catch up with the driver's chat to see what they were talking about. I think it was the Alpine 1-2 and Scarenzi saying, but they were wet setups. So I think a lot of drivers going with wet setups. And right now, I mean, it's pretty close in the midfield. Scarenzi and Palmer have got a gap. Scarenzi is setting those faster laps. He's closing into a second. Don't have DRS because the track is absolutely soaked, but he's actually gotten closer to Palmer here at the start. And now Sui is the driver behind Chuck Blazin.
Yep, I was just gonna, if you didn't jump, I was about to. We have both pairings of brothers battling each other in the front and in the mid pack. Sui looking like he is closing pretty, no, it looks like Chuck is holding his own there through sector 1. So we'll keep our eye on this, but 2 very, very important races going on in 2 very, very different parts of the track. Sui tries on the outside. He gets past the Alpine. Lap 4 of the race. Sui now up into 7th place. Chuck Blazin back into 8th as Callie Robb retains his place in 4th. Race day tried to knock on that door as well.
I'm wondering if something either happened with a little bump to Chuck Blazin at the beginning of the race, or if the car's not set up perfectly for wet, but with how he slipped down so many positions and just doesn't look that comfy stepping on the throttle, I don't know if he's ideally set for this wet race. GSR Edwin already getting 3-second multiple warnings, or 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, probably on this last section of the track where you can see the Alpine, actually this corner, all riding that line, but with it being so wet, very easy to just slide a little bit further than you planned.
Yeah, no one is going all out in turn 10 here today. Trying to as much as possible, but Callie Robb still able to hold on to 4th. Race day, though, gonna keep trying as he gets by now. Those 2 are going to keep battling it out, and the gap to 6th just continues to grow as they fight on. Yeah, unfortunate for Chuck Blazin to drop that quickly. Like you said, we're gonna have to wait until the end of the race, or you know, maybe if we get a race stoppage, who knows? Maybe there's gonna be a red flag tonight. But if we get any word as to why Chuck fell down, whether it was a setup or whatever else, we will be sure to relay that during tonight's battle. Here we go again. Sui closing in on GSR Edwin, looking to get a car in between him and the rival in the Alpine. Will he be able to get him on the outside here on the straight? He will not. It is rainy, so we do not have the DRS advantage. Today is pure racing, pure skill on the driver's wheel into the game. Here we go across the line. Sui does have pace as he is closing rapidly, getting that slipstream, that organic slipstream on GSR Edwin. Little bit of slip there in turn 1. Will he be able to get him down in the basin here? Wonderful opportunity if he is able to nail this right and then the sweeping right to follow. May be able to overtake here, but GSR Edwin fighting diligently. Looks like Edwin does have a penalty, one of 2 drivers already to rack up some points and some time. So not sure what that was, whether it was a collision or it was track warning.
I believe Edwin's was track warnings.
Thank you.
Didn't see what Sharia's was, but if it's 3 seconds, it would probably be the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it looks like he's going for the move now on the
going on the inside. Sui gets the overtake. Will he be able to hold it through the sweeping right? He won't. GSR Edwin hangs on, gets the better line of the 2. What a wonderful opportunity for Sui, though, trying to close that door. But GSR Edwin just got there right before him. He is chomping.
Yeah. Race Day is as well on the Plums up front. They've also been sharing like the same gap that Sui and Edwin have had. See, Race Day is looking to just take that step up onto the podium, and he goes inside and just gets past.
That was a slow turn, though. He really messed that one up, so would not be surprised if the Plums tried to get a little bit of tire action there. Careful, boys. We head down the stretch. Plenty of room for both cars. We need to leave room for our friends. And there he goes. Maybe a little too much room there as the Plums tries to squeak by, but Race Day says, no. I just saw what happened with Sui and Edwin. We're not going to let that happen up here with the big dogs either. Race Day retains third.
Nothing scarier than going side by side in anywhere on the track, especially in the rain. It's like, I think Hightower in the Williams just went off, but is able to get the car back on. Scarenzi now sitting within 0.8 of Gott Palmer. But look at them. I mean, 8.5 seconds in front of third.
That's absolutely unreal. Race Day, the only driver to walk away from Montreal last week with some infractions. 2 license points were issued, penalty points were issued to the McLaren for race etiquette, repeated race etiquette infractions. While the conversation between him and I believe it was the Plums, I believe those 2 drivers were in contention last weekend in Montreal as well. And that was deemed no further action, but it was just, a repeated offense by the driver. So let's try and keep it clean there for the Papayas. Don't make me embarrassed to wear the hat here today, Race Day. You never really do. Don't start now. Here goes Sui down the corner, trying in Sector 2. Just not able to get past this Mercedes. Edwin defending like an absolute boss in the wet. Sui's trying to find an opening, but is just unable to in that very, very difficult left, as you're explaining, through qualifying. That double left-hand turn requires so much precision. And just look at that gap that Edwin was able to pick up afterward.
Game was treating us to some special camera angles following through those corners. Yeah, he's just so close to him. The leaders are also starting to get close. They're about 2 corners behind Hightower and Gunner in 16th and 17th, so might soon get to a point where they have to start passing each other.
Yeah, getting into traffic, never what you want to see. Scarenzi floating around that half a second interval to Gott Palmer right now. Pretty consistent up top, but I mean, just look at this 3-wall right now. Edwin, Sui to Chuck Blazin, and I don't want to discredit Chuck, although he is just around the 1 second, there he goes, 1 second interval mark. He was hanging on to those 2 fairly close, so not out of this race by a long shot, but Chuck definitely has to keep it clean, keep it tight if he wants a shot at a podium opportunity here. We'll see what can happen, but these 3 putting on an absolute show right now. Sui just unable to get past the absolute bus that GSR Edwin is driving right now. Shreya and Travis Scott's going back and forth. Shreya tried. Travis Scott's wins out for 10th place. Alfa Romeo will stay in 10th. Typical. This is classic Scarenzi. Just about a third through the race now. Just biding time. Staying about a half an interval back. Now he's closing ever so slightly. Sui right on the tail. Is he going to try the inside line? It's just not there on the Mercedes.
That is so close between them. I think it's tough. I mean, I do this. I don't know how he races. Those 2 are probably right on pace with each other. You're not going to get much more out of the car at this point. You're the driver behind. You just stick as close as you can, make it look like you're going to pass, dip back behind them, and you just get them on their toes, make them a little skittish, try to be a little defensive, and at some point they'll make a mistake, right? Kind of like boxing where you want to be the one leading them.
Right.
or
Yeah,
dancing. I don't know.
No, 100%. I mean, it's the same thing as roller derby. If you're not hip to what I'm up to in my real life, I'm playing roller derby now, like men's roller derby. And that is definitely a thing where you want to control the narrative. We have GSR Edwin, unfortunately off track right now, playing in the sand. That's going to allow Swee to get up into 6th place as Edwin drops down to 13th. What an awful snap for the Mercedes. His partner Caesar still up in 8th, still grab some of those points for the team. But like you said, Swee playing that strategy that him and his brother both do so well. Put the pressure on. Make them make the mistake.
Yeah, at some point, it would happen in this rain. Scarenzi, 0.3 of a second behind Got Palmer, just waiting for an opportunity. And with Sui and Chuck Blazin right now sticking pretty strong, this would be the title. It would be so crazy. Right now, Got Palmer would finish 9 points ahead of Scarenzi. If Scarenzi gets in front of him, Scarenzi will finish 1 point. Or, Aston Martin will finish 1 point ahead of Alpine.
Whoa.
So this first place would, because it's a 5-point gap between first and second.
Yeah.
It's a big swing for these drivers. Interested to see if he does make a move now or if he just tries to stay close. But in a lot of races we've watched, no one's close to Got Palmer. No one can stick with him throughout the race. It's a battle for second, usually several seconds behind. So the fact that Scarenzi has stuck with him and closed the gap a bit, a little concerning for Got Palmer.
These are definitely the two to be in the shootout with one another. I mean, formation flying right now, and Got Palmer has to just be in the zone, absolutely locked in, not thinking about anything else, and really trying not to pay attention to the rear view mirrors as Scarenzi making himself known on the inside. Again, just trying to put the pressure on. Will he try the inside? He does, but Got Palmer able to retain that line and retain first place. Scarenzi, less than a car length to go through that dance. Oh my gosh, is this going to be close? This is going to be a long back half of the race. GSR Edwin making up 1 place now over Josh Sr., one of 2 replacement drivers for the Williams. MMR Hightower back in 17th. But Mercedes slowly gaining points, gaining position, back up in the grid.
The other little twist you get with the rain, sometimes when you're looking for a pass like Scarenzi, you'll go through the same corner, you'll make your attempt a few times, maybe on the inside, and then the next time you fake inside, go outside. You can't do that in the rain because you'll lose the card. So you can't do little fake moves to try and take the person out. So we'll see if he continues to try and pass in this sector. That one's very tough braking. You're going downhill, weird turn to the right. I always mess that one up. That's, I think, the slowest corner compared to the pros. If you look,
Right.
That's just one I can't get right on this track.
The amount of times that I have done that pirouette right in front of the Red Bull statue, it is very embarrassing. I do apologize to the bull every time I do so. Scarenzi taking the inside. Scarenzi is now leading the Austrian Grand Prix. Lap 13 of 36, almost to the halfway point, and Aston Martin takes the lead as it stands right now. He is winning the Constructors by just 1 point. Gold by 1 point. We'll see.
Well, I haven't looked at the fastest lap, so give me a moment. It is Scarenzi as well, so that would actually be 2 points.
2 points.
And that fastest lap could bring it back to a tie, and I don't know the tiebreaker for a Constructors' Cup.
Rock, paper, scissors.
That would be fantastic.
Chuck Blazin being issued a 3-second penalty as well back in 7th. That is going to do nothing but hurt the Alpine garage and their chances in the points, as that battle between Aston and Alpine still raging on in 6th and 7th. But it is now Scarenzi leading the Austrian Grand Prix, the final race of season 12 and the final race for Midwest eSports Formula One Division 1 in in F1 23. We'll see if he can end this one on a high note, a Hightower high note.
is starting to pull away from Gott
Sure
Palmer.
is.
Now, Gott Palmer did that at the start of the race. This one's a long one. I don't believe they have to stop when it's raining. Or do you
not?
Right.
No, you do
but
not.
They might need to for the tire's sake,
Right.
but not for regulation-wise, because you're not going to switch to racing. It does look like it's lightening up a little bit.
I will take your word for it, as I am running on some janky FPS right now. But yeah, I do believe that all tire mandatory pit stops are.
Oh, Sui jumping up. Never mind. Kelly Robb taking a pit stop.
Okay.
Also,
It's like, come on now.
we do have a caution
in sector
flag.
3. We
Edwin.
have GSR Edwin once again spun out, missing that front wing. Nose looking a little light there.
Yeah. Looking like an anteater.
Yeah, sure is. Unfortunate for GSR Edwin, just pushing that car a little too hard. I wonder if it's the setup or just the nerve, the adrenaline, pushing a little too hard in the conditions. Maybe he thought that it was also lightening up and pushed a little harder than expected.
Ooh, a Haas retired from the race too.
Yeah, it looks like that is Daryl, I believe.
Yes.
That is Daryl. Yeah, replacement driver for the Haas has retired from the session as well. 2 drivers down, 16 remain on track right now. GSR Edwin getting a nose job in the pits. Race day in the pits as well. Not sure if that was damage or if he is just swapping out tires. Plum's also taking a beat right now.
Putting on Inter tires, so it must be lightening up.
It must be. So gamble there. You saw it first here. The McLaren first to put on the Inters. That could be a really smart move. Sui, because of those pit stops, now in third. We have 2 Aston Martins, 2 Green Machines up on the podium as we approach the halfway point of the Austrian Grand Prix. Race 15 of 15 here in season 12 of Midwest F1 D1 action.
Strategy-wise, we can't tell what the weather is. I wish we could pull up, the forecast or ask the pit crew. It does become, I don't know if it's going to clear up completely, but that's where you might see Scorenzi and Gott Palmer just stay out until they can put slicks on, if it's going to dry quickly. But it looks like it's still dripping yet. He's going to go in, put on Inters. Gott Palmer following him. Sui, 23 seconds behind. He's probably going to have to stop as well. Race day right on his heels. I think our leaders are going to come out absolutely fine in terms of track position. Looks like they're both starting to roll out of the pits.
Ooh, race day may have chomped some track limits there. Looked like a rather dangerous overtake there on Sui as he heads to the pits as well with Chuck Blazin. So all of our brother pairings heading in for those Inter swaps, but race day with the early jump gets back up into third place there with the green tires.
Looks like Sui gets out. Decent position ahead of Chuck Blazin now. I think they're still going to come out right next to each other. Race control. Got a caution flag from Josh Sr. He is in the wall. He's missing the wing. He's very close to pit lane, which is good news for everyone out there because that probably means no safety car.
Yeah, I don't see any debris on the track, so we should be good. We are back under green as Josh Sr. heads into the pits now, but it is getting slick out there. I mean, it's been slick all day, but it's still, you know what I mean.
Yeah. I think it's going to stay like this for the rest of the race. There's a little bit of a line starting to appear, but nothing that I think drivers are going to play with.
It would be wonderful for one of the next iterations of the Formula One game series to, install some sort of spectator, graphics, infographics, all of that. We need like a stream deck built into the game to give us the weather reports and all of the back end stuff. That would be very, very helpful. Race day there, setting fastest lap, taking that extra point away from Scorenzi for the time being. Right now, Scorenzi still leading Gott Palmer and still holding on to the constructors literally by a hair, by 1 point. Now that he has lost his fastest lap extra point. But here we go now as he is close to lapping. Who is that? Is that Edwin?
That would be Edwin, yes.
Yeah.
I'm also interested to see how his setup handles as the rain lightens up a little bit, because he did mention that he hopes it is a full wet race. Scott Palmer hasn't gotten much closer yet, it seems, but you never know.
With a second and a half, I feel that if any driver could do it, stop right there. Scott Palmer taking fastest lap. That's a 1:13.7 for the Alpine.
That'll be crucial if Aston Martin finishes in front of him, because that would be a dead tie.
Wow. Yeah.
Time for me to look at the tiebreaker real quick.
Yeah, I was going to say, if anyone can pull up the rule book, now would be the time. What happens in the case of a tie? We're going to stay on board here with Scott Palmer while Mitch does some indexing.
Found it?
Beautiful.
Well, found the book.
Command F is a hell of a drug. Scott Palmer with a wee bit of a snap there in those dangerous right-handers. Now into the left combo. Keeping pretty close to that inside line, but he does keep it clean. I mean, throwing it into the second of the two lefts. Both of these cars definitely riding wet setups right now. So, yeah, we'll just have to see how these drivers handle it if the track does, in fact, dry out towards the end of the race. We are officially in lap 19, which means we are on the back half. One half of the race is down. One half to go as we enter lap 20. I know I missed it by one lap, but give me the break. Both of the Ferraris, also fourth and fifth, still holding solid. The Plums and Cali Robb coming in 1 and 2 there across the line. Cali Robb taking it from the Plums. Looks like that was a calculated position switch for the drivers, as Cali does have the pace for the time being. 11 seconds, though, to catch up to the podium. Real big mountain to climb there. Race day also almost 5 seconds out from the battle in front. So definitely, really has to grind if he wants to throw his hat in the ring and mess up these two in their race.
You definitely throw a wrench into things by getting in between them or getting above them and then making the point spread slightly less. I bet you could guess the tiebreaker for Constructors' Cup Championship. If teams are tied in points,
it's the driver points.
It's the team with the most driver wins in the season.
Oh, okay. So then it would definitely be Scott Palmer.
Yeah, Scott Palmer, I think, has 3 or 4, and Screnzi only has 1.
Correct. Yes, so he has none. Chuck has.
I didn't check Chuck, but it wouldn't matter because.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to give him his flowers, but it does not look like Chuck won either this season. So
he did change his name several times, didn't he?
He has, yeah.
Palmer is getting to within a second of Scarenzi, though. He's getting a bit closer.
Track does look like it is drying out just ever so slightly. We're seeing that dry line get a little bigger each lap.
Yeah, you want like a definitive lane.
Oh yeah, no one's going to slicks anytime soon, but a little more traction is evident. Got Palmer trying to close that gap, but he's back to almost 1.5 back.
The big thing now for Scarenzi and Scott Palmer is avoiding those 3-second penalties. You can see 5 drivers have penalties right now. I believe most of them are for track off or going off track. Very easy to pick up on this one, as we've explained well before. So that can happen in the last lap, especially if they're battling. And we don't have a tracker to see like what they're at right now, because that gets very dicey close to the end of the race.
Want to take a second right now while everyone is relatively spaced out to thank for one final time in season 12 all of the folks that are working behind the scenes diligently. They are drivers, they are race fans, and they are stewards. They are all in one, the Swiss Army knives of Midwest racing. We would not be able to race at this level of competition without them. So thank you very much to Commissioner Porkchops, along with stewards Lancy and Knuckles, the head D1 steward for season 12, along with all of the other division stewards here at Midwest Racing. Thank you all very much for the honor of having the call here in season 12, along with keeping everything above board. They go to work as soon as the checkered flag flies. So thank you very much to everyone putting in the extra work, some overtime throughout the week. What a phenomenal organization. Just very thankful to be a very small part of this wonderful group of athletes.
Yeah, it's run like clockwork too. It's so easy to just jump in because they have the driver substitutions ready. They have all of the points and stuff updated. You check in for the race, and I just log into my F1 23 10 minutes before, and I have an invite to the session. Not asking around to get an invite unless we join last minute or we're in a different division who we haven't met before. So super easy to join. I think they're tentatively set to start July 11th for the next season. Usually with their breaks they do July 4th, but that is on a Thursday this year.
Sure is.
July 4th for us, so that would be a holiday, so they'll start the week after. And they will be moving to F1 24. Still deciding which car they're using because they're still tuning that game. Some more info will come soon from them.
Yeah, we will have all of the recaps and all of the changes to race formats and whatever else in the first race of the season. It's going to just be our time to kind of do some housekeeping. So happy holidays to everyone who is celebrating that American freedom in the next coming weeks. Have a wonderful time. Have a very safe time. And if you are drinking, the only car you should be driving is a virtual one in the game as well. There's the PSA. We're covered. Have fun. Be safe. Go America.
Good job.
Yeah, I did it.
Love to look when they are working on the schedule tentatively too, and I know they do sponsorships. I know we want to throw our name on one of them at some point.
Yes.
Those go very quickly, but we would have a Nick and Mitch Grand Prix.
What do we need to do for that? Is there some money?
I think so. I think that's typically what they do. I forget. He usually posts about it in messages. I know typically it's for the off weeks. Mm-hmm. You can sponsor and then pick the track when the real F1 races aren't happening because they'll mirror them. You can pay a lot more to take over one of the actual races and change the track. But I think the one thing we'll just take the actual track. We don't care what really where they're racing.
Yeah, just give us a Nick and Mitch Grand Prix next year.
Unless they add Paul Ricard back.
All bets are off at that point. Scarenzi still holding that almost 1.5 second lead. Pretty firm ahead of Gott Palmer. Not sure where fastest lap stands right now. I believe it is still back with, there it is, with Gott Palmer. So Scarenzi not having that additional point just yet.
Now, Scarenzi a few laps ago when I checked was at a 1:14, so he has gotten closer to Gott Palmer. Gott Palmer got pulled by quite a bit, so I don't know if he'll give that up easily. However, any of the other drivers could take that away from Gott Palmer and give the lead back to Aston Martin. Also, where is it? Chuck Blazin has 3 seconds in penalties. Yes, 3 seconds penalties. GSR Caesar is 4.5 seconds behind him. So if he can get another 2 seconds closer, that would separate Sui and Chuck Blazing by an extra position, and that would be enough.
If you're Sui at this point in 6th, and the Constructors is decided by Scarenzi's win, Gott Palmer's fastest lap right now, do you pit in these final 10 laps? 10 laps to go here in the Austrian Grand Prix. Scarenzi in the Aston Martin still atop the grid here, and currently tied with Scott Palmer in terms of points as he holds on to fastest lap right now. Do you drop in for a new set of tires to try and pull that fastest lap away from Scott Palmer to Aston Martin?
I think you can only do that if it's dry enough that you can put on slicks and guarantee that you're going to take it.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd also have to guarantee that you're keeping your position.
That's fair. That's true.
What he could do, though, you asking that question sparked this thought. He could slow down a bit. Chuck Blazing catches up to him, and then try and keep him behind you enough to where Caesar catches up to you, and then the penalty applies and pushes Chuck Blazing further down.
Right. Okay.
So you would try to slow down and slow Chuck Blazing enough to get his penalty to push him another point.
Wow.
That's tricky. I mean, that's a gamble, but at that point, if you're going to lose by a point, that's about the only thing you can do, because Sui would otherwise have to pass the plums, essentially.
That is some chess, playing some absolute chess. I mean, Ellie bringing my attention back to the interval. Look at that gap. What just happened there with Scott Palmer? Huge snap, I'm not sure. Scarenzi leading by almost 3 seconds with just 9 laps to go. Aston Martin hanging on by a literal thread. No, I mean a 3-second thread, but still, nonetheless, 1 point is 1 point.
Yeah. And it's going to be down to the wire, which is so exciting. I think last season we had some positions up to that. We tried calculating all 20 driver positions throughout the race to figure that out, and that was just so much. This is easier to grasp and just so crazy that you have a 5-point gap at the end.
Yeah, this is absolutely phenomenal. Love that this season came down to it in the very last race. I mean, we missed last week because of a work event on my end. I'm sorry, but I did miss the actual stream of the race. And Mitch sent me a message like, do you realize what we are getting into next week with the points ramifications and everything? And we both had a moment where we had to mentally prepare ourselves to call this race because of how close it was. So we getting up into 5th as Chuck Blazin, also up into 6th. Callie Robb dipping down into the pits, relinquishing that spot. So those drivers will take a little bump up in the positioning, but it's not going to do too much in terms of the points.
I was wondering why he pitted, but it looks like he had been on wets most of that time. We have a caution flag out. Looks like one of the blue cars, one of the Williams, Josh Sr., getting back on track. Looks like he is underway, so he should be back to green here in just a moment. We'll see if he can handle that corner, and he can.
He has really been wrestling that car today. I mean, that's the second spin. Him and Edwin both just having a bit of a time. Caution in Sector 1 now as well. Was that Gunner? No, does not look it. We are back underway. It may have been Travis Scott's.
And where did this come from? Callie Robb about to overtake Chuck Blazing.
Absolutely shot out of a cannon. Callie Robb down the main straight, gets past Chuck Blazing up into 6th place, giving a big cushion for Sui. I'm sure he is very happy to see a red car coming up behind him in his mirrors.
Did Callie Robb just pit so he could come out and create that gap? Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, it looks like he's going. No, he's not. That's driver of the pass.
That was a yield. Yeah, blue flag.
Yeah, I think
there.
He did have to put on inters.
Wow.
We'll have to find out after, because he came out just behind those two and then was immediately able to overtake. And now look at this, like Chuck Blazing, like 8 or 9 seconds behind Sui. And that was fine when they were, 6 and 7, but Callie Robb was able to come out on fresh tires and just separate them, and now 3 seconds above Chuck Blazing.
Honestly, with all of this space that Callie Robb has to just drive, are we looking at a potential fastest lap right now? Here he goes across the line. Does he have it?
He
Cali
does.
Robb takes fastest lap with a 1:12.129, pulling it away from the Alpine of Gott Palmer and giving Scarenzi that 1 point back. It is no longer a tie, folks. 6 laps remain, and Aston Martin, if they hang on, will be lifting this trophy, the Constructors, in the final race of the season. The pressure is on, and it's all thanks to the Ferrari of Cali Robb.
With the standings now, Aston Martin would be 3 points ahead of Alpine. That would be just a mega move by Ferrari if that was the reason. It looks like Cali Robb hadn't made a pit stop yet, so he did need to switch to inters. I thought everyone was on inters though, so just whether coincidence or
he may have just swapped. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Well, race day is heading in once again. The first driver to pop inters onto his car is heading in for his second pair of inters. We'll see with that 17-second
come out.
lead. Yeah, what's he going to do with the plums here? Gap is closing. He may lose 1 position on the re-entry. It's going to be close. Race day does get out right in front of the plums on a fresh set of greens. We'll see. 26 seconds, though, to the front runners. Gott Palmer still unable to really close that 2-second plus gap on Scarenzi. Both of those drivers have to be feeling some tire wear, but 5 laps to go. They are in it for the long haul.
It's still raining as well, so I'd say no risk of meeting slicks at this point. The track's not going to clear up enough to do that at the end.
Cannot believe. I mean, if we had a vote for your driver of the day button, my finger may very well be pressing Cali Robb right now. Whether that was a coincidence or if he is just playing interference to stir the pot for the sake of stirring the pot, whatever it was, Cali Robb really, really mixing things up here in the very, very late stages of this race.
It's hard to tell because both Ferraris are where they started, and they're basically the only drivers to do that, except for Josh Sr. down in 14th. Ferrari's very consistently in that 5, 6, 7 range this season, doing it well. But, I mean, look at the movement changes here. And this was almost all from the start of the race, where Scarenzi jumped up 4 spots, Suey jumped up 7 spots, Gott Palmer dropped 1, and Chuck Blazin dropped 5. So it looked, qualifying 1-2 with the Alpines, and then immediately off the jump of the race, Aston Martin's making moves and then continuing to pick away throughout the race.
Yeah, right now, Ferrari, after Canada, they are both stacked in the drivers, 6th and 7th, and 3rd place in constructors behind Aston Martin. So they've definitely been consistent for Ferrari this year. This pairing has been wonderful. Ton of fun to watch. Race day takes fastest lap back, the 1:12. First driver to breach the 1:12 mark, I believe, today.
The Ferrari did.
Oh,
but it was a high 1:12.
Okay. My fault. That's right. I said it. I said the entire thing. It was like a 1:12.7.
Now Cali Robb looking to overtake Suey, so maybe not. Playing nice in that Constructors Cup. I think that just shut that part down.
And goodbye. Mitch is heading back to his spreadsheet.
Which I think with the fastest lap snipe takes it back to a tie.
Really? What? Wouldn't Scarenzi get... Isn't he up 1 point? I thought when Gott Palmer had fastest, it was a tie.
No.
No?
Well, it's 21st, not...
Let me know. We'll see. Race day definitely not going
2-1.
quiet into the night. 2 laps remain in the race here. It is still Aston Martin, Alpine, McLaren as your podium.
You are right. Without the fastest lap for Alpine, Aston Martin would finish 1 point ahead. So that is going to come down to a fastest lap. Gott Palmer does... That's so tough. He would have enough time. I think he's 23 seconds ahead of race day.
Put on new inters.
Yeah, he has enough time, 23 seconds, to go into the pits, put on a new set, come out in lap 35 and then smash lap 36, maybe take it back.
That was a monster slide there from Gott Palmer, as well as you were explaining all of the points and potential strategy here. I mean, what an absolute nail biter. It looks like Gott Palmer may be losing a bit of his traction on these old inters. Can only imagine what Scarenzi is going through as well.
Yeah, and
wow, what a strategy would that be? Two laps remain here in the Austrian Grand Prix in season 12 of MidWest eSports Formula One Division 1 right here on Nick and Mitch. Thanks for joining us this season. It has come down to the wire as Scarenzi is hanging on to a Constructors' Championship by 1 point, which may be his final season, foreseeable season here in MidWest eSports. What a way to go out with a 6th Constructors' Championship. That'd be phenomenal for I'm gonna say it, for the GOAT. We have a caution in Sector 1.
GSR Caesar has dropped out of the race. His car's still going, so he may have had a little disconnection.
Thankfully, not a
Gott Palmer is... Well, that's his. I think that's his fastest time. Or is that the fastest time overall? He's slower. He was a 10th of a second back. I don't know if that's the fastest lap time. Race day put up a mega lap, or 1:12.0 something. That would be hard to beat. Looks like that caution flag is cleared up too. So we are in the final lap.
Ladies and gentlemen, get on your feet. This could be the upset of the century. Not upset, just the comeback of the century. Alpine has been dominant in the Constructors for the entire season. Scarenzi winning Saudi Arabia in week 1. It was the only time that we saw green in first place for the Constructors. Other than that, it has been the white and blue of Alpine. A dominant season from the Deaf brothers. But it is the Green Machines once again of Sui and Scarenzi. Never count them out. They are always right behind you, and they will always take advantage of any fault that you show on track. Absolute clinicians out here. They absolutely live and breathe esports racing. Here he goes, Sector 3, Scarenzi in first place of the Aston Martin, coming down the final stretch. It is Scarenzi in first place, taking the Constructors' Champion for Aston Martin in Season 12 of MidWest eSports Formula One Division 1. Scarenzi with his 6th Constructors' Championship in the league. An absolute clinic from the legend.
Just an incredible race. Race day taking a fastest lap, 1:11.765.
Zoom in!
Chuck Blazin has the only hope for Alpine to get back into a tie and therefore a win for the Constructors' Cup if he can set the fastest lap, but I haven't seen his name pop up with that title all day. We'll see crossing over the line. Definitely not enough. 1:14.
And there you have it. Aston Martin taking it in the final race, the 15th leg of the season. It is the Green Machines atop the Constructors' Championship. Congratulations, Scarenzi. Congratulations, Sui. The brothers in green will be lifting the Constructors for a 6th time in Scarenzi's long career here in MidWest eSports. Phenomenal drive from the GOAT. There's the fist bump as he crosses the line after his cooldown laps. Houdini getting driver of the day. I would argue that it was still, his name is off the screen right now, Callie Robb with driver of the day with that phenomenal re-entry to break up the mid-pack between the Aston and Alpine. There it is. Lift it high, champ. You deserve it. And that also, I believe, is still a Drivers' Championship for Gott Palmer, correct? The second place finish. I'm fairly certain that that is still Gott Palmer who will lift the Drivers' Championship. Yeah, phenomenal drive. Both of those drivers taking away gold here at the end of the season, and deservedly so. Mitch, are you there? I don't know if Mitch is there anymore. I don't know if we're still streaming or not. I am going to keep talking, though. Thank you very much for tuning in.
What?
Hello.
Hello.
I hear you now.
Okay, yes, weirdest thing.
I was just giving flowers to Gott Palmer as well, the drivers' champion of Season 12. Both of those drivers walking away with the ultimate hardware, one for his team and one for his own personal trophy case. I don't think they actually do physical trophies for the league, but they really should, because those were hard-earned. Gott Palmer with an absolute scorcher of a season, and it came down to the final wire where Scarenzi was just able to inch past him to take one of those trophies off of Gott Palmer's plate. Phenomenal season. You can't ask for a better finale than that.
What I was trying to say to you when I knocked my microphone off is that Gott Palmer still finished 13 points ahead in the Drivers' Championship. That one would have been almost impossible unless Gott Palmer didn't finish, or finish very far down. But just such big moves by Aston Martin in that race to take home the victory by a single point, only winning one race the whole season, but that's all it takes. And 2 races, I guess. Was it the first and the last race?
It was the first and the last race. Wow. Scarenzi bookending Season 12 with phenomenal wins.
Yeah, just we were excited for this. As soon as I saw that point thing like last week, I knew that this would be just an exciting race, and I can't wait to see how the rest shake out too, because it was very close in the midfield, and even close to the bottom in some of the standings for teams and drivers. So that race definitely had more implications than what we just saw right now. I know that Mercedes and AlphaTauri were separated by just 3 points. Williams and Ferrari were by a bit. The Drivers' Championships, where was it? There was a very close battle. But yes, there are a lot of potential finishes for those drivers. And like we said, too, that can change who can race with each other next season, because I know top 10 drivers can't team up. So right. Ferrari with that 6 and 7 in the drivers, or the 5 and 6, they can't race together next season. So that's busted up once again. That's what happened with Race Day and Cali Rob. They were teammates last season.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what Season 13 has in store for us. And as we look ahead to July 11th, I believe you said July 11th, for the tentative start of Season 13 in the brand new game F1 24, we will be sure to jump on the stream a bit early to recap final standings of Season 12 before we wipe the slate clean and start fresh all over again. Congratulations once again to all of the drivers tonight walking away with hardware, to Alpine for the dominance on the season, to Mackie for winning pretty much every single race this season. If it wasn't an Alpine, if it wasn't an Aston Martin, there's a pretty good chance that it was just NLR Mackie absolutely wiping the floor with the rest of the pack. And all of the other drivers, everybody this season had a wonderful, wonderful go at it. So thank you very much once again for giving us the honor of calling these races each season. We are very excited to head back for will this be our third full season? Season 13 will be our third full season here at MidWest. So really looking forward to that, and getting back in front of everybody. I know that there are a few drivers that will not be returning to the grid next year, or next season. So thank you very much for gracing us with your skill, and with just all of your goodwill and, great competitive hearts and all of that good stuff. Wonderful sportsmanship across the board. It's been a pleasure to call all of your races, and best of luck with whatever life has in your next chapter. We hope to see you soon, and maybe a one-off shootout in the near future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mitch?
Yeah. What?
Anything? No, anything.
No, you put it so eloquently. I excited to work on the new graphics for teams like Kickstake Sauber.
Oh, yeah.
Picard.
We're going to have to do that, aren't we?
Yeah, I get to record new track intros because they made some changes, but yeah, it's going to look pretty.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. I believe, again, July 11th, the tentative start of season 13 with a brand new intro video coming out. Maybe a new intro video, definitely some new team colors and some team names. So stay tuned for all of that excitement. Please be sure to click subscribe since we are taking a few weeks off. It can get a little muddy with remembering when we do these streams. So we can make it easy for you. If you just click subscribe on the channel, if you click it right now, you will interrupt our stream and get an awesome little bell. But if not, you can click subscribe, hit the notifications, and stay up to date. You will get notified whenever we go live with the start of season 13 action here in just a few weeks' time. You can also click join to become a YouTube member here at Nick and Mitch and support all of the graphics, all of the licensing and the music and everything else, the mics, the cameras, everything. It all goes right back into the production. So thank you to those who have been contributing for 3-4 years at this point. We owe y'all a ton. So thank you very much to Coach 34, executive producers, Bone Crusher 2D, Coach 34, and Mama Bell, along with co-producers Killavapor, Captain Snowbeard, and Kirsten, and our fans and Fans Plus.
Did you cover everything that they...
Maybe.
I was catching up because Scarenzi said he also broke the constructor's curse, which hasn't happened, it sounds like.
Wow.
So Aston Martin back-to-back, is that right?
Aston Martin back-to-back. Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Let me scroll back real quick.
Yeah, let's end on that. History.
No. Then I don't know what he's talking about. Ferrari won it last season. Anyways,
was it just he hasn't won
maybe.
constructors in a while, so he was kind of cursed with it?
Maybe.
But he ended that by saying, to think all I needed again was my bro. So again, just let's bring it all back and let's tie it together with Alpine, Aston Martin, both brother pairings, like same mother, same house growing up. They were out there fighting for their lives, tooth and nail. Against one another. It is all in good fun. It's all in good jest, but phenomenal talent from those two families. They should really have a kid and get that kid out on track as soon as possible. I do one final, this is what we're ending on. Congratulations to Alpine, because they will be welcoming a brand new pit crew member to their team soon. Chuck Blazin is expecting another kid here pretty soon. So sorry if that announcement wasn't to go out on YouTube, but Chuck's expecting his newest crew member here momentarily. So best of luck to you, your family, and we will see everybody in season 13 in just a few weeks' time. I'm Nick.
And I'm Mitch.
Happy 4th of July in the States, and we will see yins soon. Have a great rest of your week. Good night.